Perfect.
Give it all you got.
Hopefully they won't. They're supposed to be experts on this. Yeah. We can start. I got some people here on Teams.
So
might have
we're
to
here to give you guys a demonstration on Hoyer lifts, alternating pressure mattresses, and also the electric version of the Hoyer. I'll start off with the original style. So this is manual. Couple of components here. There's wheel locks right here on the back. So you just step on it to engage or lift it. There is this bar right here that allows you to expand the width of the legs. So if you push it, swing it out, it'll narrow the legs. That allows you to get through hallways, doorways, things like that. And if you want to go around like a low chair or a regular chair, you widen it out so that way it doesn't knock up against the chair. In conjunction with that, we have a sling. There's different sizes for different people. So there's petite, there's small, there's medium, there's large. Some with or without the commode opening. There's split leg styles. There's a multitude of styles, but it all kind of does the same thing. There's the boom right here that allows you to attach the sling. Then the controls are right here on the main piston here. There is a pump that allows you to elevate the boom. Right there, you can see it. Then there's a release valve right here. If you go the opposite direction, it'll start lowering the patient. And then when you want to lift the patient, you re-engage that valve and you just pump again. So the way this works is the sling is typically already underneath the patient. The supports or the hoops here are color coded. And it really just depends on the size of the patient. So the top section, you should get it as close to the person's shoulder as possible. So whichever color is closest to their shoulder. So that, and then there's straps on the back of the sling that allows the helper to kind of navigate or position the patient. So this side's the top, that's the bottom where the commode opening is. So I'm just going to go ahead and demonstrate if a person is in a chair or wheelchair or something like that. You can also operate this if they're in bed. You just have to use different color hoops. So I'm going to have a seat right there. Here. So I'll go ahead and narrow this out. So generally, you don't want to get this like right up to their face because just in case they startle and then they can bust their face on that. But I think maybe I'll start a little low. That way I can attach the, and it's really, really slow. So you're not going to just do that and then the patient just drops. This particular unit holds up to 450 pounds. That one can hold up to, I believe, 500 or 600 pounds. And then there's bariatric ones that go all the way to 600. You should not exceed the patient's weight. So person's in the chair, shower chair, wheelchair, whatever the case, you notice the legs are too narrow, so you'll do this, and it out. Probably best to do it with two people, ideally. So you get it as close as you can without smacking them in the face. And sometimes it's best for them to either cross their arms over their shoulders, put it in their lap, or they can even hang on to this part right here. From there, you want to attach all the hoops. So again, the upper part of the hoops here should be really close to the patient's shoulder. So if they're broader shoulder, you might want to use a different hoop. So in this case, let me get a little bit closer. Again, you just want to be really, really careful. You don't want to have the person like panicking. So just tell them to cross their arms or hold on to the hoop. So I'm going to go with blue because it should be snug. There. And depending on the position you want them in, I want him to be in a sit down position. So I'm not going to do blue on the bottom. I'm going to go the next color over or even further. So that way he's going to be lifted or suspended in a sit down position. So I think I'll go with the purple. Again, it should be relatively snug on the patient. purple. And then before you suspend the patient, you do want to lock in the wheels. And then you want to have your helper, you coordinate with them on the count of three. I'm going to go up, 1, 2, 3. You start pumping it up. So that way the person can kind of hold the collar right here and then also hold the strap on the back to kind of position them so they don't swing. Close the valve. Should say 1, 2, 3, we're going up. You do want to watch their knees because they can swing. And once you see that they're fully suspended and free and clear of all moving parts, you and your helper is gonna disengage the brakes, discuss where you're going. I'm going in that direction, down the hall, whatever the case. And also, you should already know where you're gonna put them. So let's say I'm gonna put them in that chair. Say we're gonna put them in that chair. Let's go ahead and do that. Let's engage this, back away from the section. Right, and then if you're going into a hallway, you can narrow this out. Like that. And then you'll find where you're going to put them. Again, this is helpful if you have that second person kind of swoop right here. They would kind of just like really position that person in whatever orientation that's ideal. So I'll go ahead and line this back out. Two people, because you see how he's swaying. It's good to have a helper. Once he's positioned really well, again, the person's probably going to tug him up so that way he's not going to slide off the couch. That. And you will let the other person know on the count of 3, we're going to go down. This valve right here, that person's going to operate this. Slowly comes down. Once he's kind of free and clear, we can disengage all the hoops. Now, if the person's lying down in bed, you can do this as well. You just have to coordinate the hoops to where they're going to be more in a flat position rather than a sit-down position. You guys have any questions about this? You guys probably do this all the time. Super easy. Again, and he'll have 2 people. This is the same exact thing, but motorized. Only difference, there's an emergency stop right here and a remote. So it has all the same features. It has the wheel lock in red right here. Disengage, to engage and then disengage. Emergency stop if the person gets snagged on something or something goes awry. Slam that, it cuts power to the unit. You twist and it will pop back up. Ready for use after you do that. You press the up or down arrow, it'll allow you to raise or lower the boom. You could also do it on here. There's an up or a down arrow, very, very simple. There's only 2 directions you can go in. Other than that, if it's currently plugged in to the wall, it won't let you operate it. You shouldn't operate it while it's plugged in essence. So give it a full charge, unplug it, and then use it. Otherwise, it's the same exact thing as that, just remote use. Questions about this one? All right, cool. This does have a higher capacity for weight.
Question.
So if you want to have.
Oh, wait, we have a question.
Sorry, can you
Go.
demonstrate how to swap out the battery? We had that at one of our patients'
Yeah.
houses.
Take one hand, you kind of scoop underneath here, right? And there's a little lever.
Can you come closer? So we can.
You just lever right here. You press that lever up and you pull out. These 2 prongs right here, positive and negative, would line up right here. You want to get the base in first before you push in the top. You put in the base first, then you push in the top.
And will
And-
the lifts just
Huh?
come with one battery or do they come with multiple
One battery
batteries?
with the charger, always.
How long does it usually take to charge?
Depends on frequency of use. So if you're not using it too often, other than picking up and moving once a day, this one battery should last you all week. However, as batteries degrade over time, you know, the storage life is not as good. So normally when it's not in use, we suggest you guys to plug it in. However, if it's already full, you shouldn't plug it back in because it needs to drain down for the battery to have its exercise. Because if you keep on plugging it in, even though it's full, it's going to eventually destroy the battery. You need to use it to about 50% or less and then refill it at the end of the day. But if it's fully charged, you shouldn't keep it plugged in overnight. So again, grab this, pull it out. When you reinsert it, just get the base in first. Push it.
Beautiful.
And if we had to replace the battery, how long would it take for us to get a new battery?
Probably same day if an electric lift is available in our city, because we have 3 different branches, one in the Bay, one in Sac, and then one in Modesto. We have a lot of patients that get electric lifts, so ideally, about 24 hours would be ideal, heads up. Sometimes we'll have to transfer things from other sites, that's why it takes some time. Now, if we're completely out of stock, we'll just let you know we're out of stock there and here. It's going to be a while, so we'll let you know if you could even get a lift, because it's a pretty hot commodity right now.
You know, we get a lot of calls that the electric coil from the facility stopped working.
Mhm.
Should we just be asking for a battery? Is that normally what the issue is?
A lot of the times, the reason why it doesn't work is because it's 50-50. There's some user error, and then there's also mechanical fault too. So let's say the person is plugged in, and it's not working. Well, it's not going to let you do it when it's plugged in. So user error in that case. Sometimes emergency stop is down. There's no power. It's not working. All right, well, twist this, and then it'll let you use it again. Otherwise, they would lose a charger. So I've seen it in facilities, especially they borrow from one patient, take it down the hall for another patient, and then they lose the charger, and they're like, hey, it's dead, I can't use it. And then they're like, hey, I need another charger. So we have a lot of service calls for lost chargers. That's because they're mixing and matching the Hoyer lift from, between patients, and they shouldn't be. So
When they call saying it's not working, I guess you just said a couple steps for troubleshooting over the phone.
that charger, sometimes they don't insert this all the way. They just well, it's kind of there, but you need to hear the click. And, so we try to call and troubleshoot first before we send the guy out. Because sometimes it's like, oh, she's left it plugged in. Of course, it's not. Or this is.
So when you say left it plugged in, does the charger have to be unplugged from the wall and the machine?
Oh, yeah. So I would say unplug it here and unplug it from the wall. So that way it's not thinking that it's still currently plugged in, and it just won't let you use it.
Okay.
I'm not to say that the battery can't go bad. It can. So if you notice that it says, please replace battery, it'll say it on here. Then that's a fault with the battery itself, like it's not working properly. And then in that case, we'll just go swap out the battery. If you guys have any further questions about the electric lift, I think we can start discussing the alternating pressure mattress, which is not to be confused with low air loss. Low air loss is a totally different device. It's not low air loss. It's not even in the contract. Because this doesn't actually wick a person's skin if they have an open wound. So the best way to give you an example is just to open this guy up. So that way we have a realistic expectation of what it's able to do. So I don't know if you guys can see, but there's a bunch of different chambers right here. And these are just air bladders, and they're all connected via these hoses on the side right here. It comes from that pump down that hose all through the sides here, and it inflates all these different chambers. There is a CPR area right here that we cork. Reason why that's there is that in the event that you need to do chest compressions, you need a solid, firm base for you to compress. Otherwise, they're just kind of bouncing around and not getting any full compression. So when we install these, we cork it right here on the sides, like that, and then underneath we strap it to the frames so that way it doesn't slip off for patient safety as well. So the best way to explain this is that these chambers or air pockets, there's odd ones and then there's even ones, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, whatever, and then 1, 3, 5, and so on. So there's 2 different modes on the pump that hangs on the bottom of the bed. So there's either a static mode, and if you turn the static mode off, the default would be alternate mode. So that alternate mode is where it'll deflate all the opposite ones and then inflate, the first one. So let's say 1, 3, 5, and so on. All the odd ones will inflate for a couple minutes. After 5 to 10 minutes, it'll deflate and it inflate the even ones. And the reason why it does that is so that way the person's weight doesn't pool in one spot for long, because then you have the skin stretching in that one area. And so it's shifting the weight from one spot to the next, so that way you don't have that tearing force on their skin. So that kind of helps prevent skin breakdown and blisters, bed sores, and things like that. So the mode you want is alternate. So by turning the static off, it'll alternate. And then other than that, it goes by weight. There's a knob here, and you want to set that by weight. One thing to note, if you do turn static on, all the chambers fully inflate and it does nothing after that. One of the biggest problems that we have with alternating pressure mattresses is that when it's alternating and the patient is sitting upright like this, either this chamber or this chamber is going to lose air and alternate back and forth, right? So they're going to tell you, hey, I'm sinking, I'm sinking. You're always sinking right there because it's either this one or this one. And by the time you're folded like this, and this one sinks, you're going to feel like you're literally digging deeper and deeper into the mattress. So with that being said, typically we tell them not to be as upright, be a little bit less upright, maybe prop the patient up with a pillow and set that back to static, and then both chambers would be inflated and it wouldn't be sinking as much. But for the most part, it's doing what it's designed to do, but you're always going to have to tell the patient, you're always going to feel that sinking feeling. It's totally normal. That's what it's designed to do. But other than that, I think there's any further details other than this one takes about 35 minutes to inflate. So once we install it, 35 minutes, and then it's ready for use. If you turn the static on, it may reduce that time to like around 25 minutes. But when you guys already have an existing patient that has a mattress and you want to order this after the fact, they'd have to either be out of the bed for a certain amount of time, at 35, 40 minutes, while this is inflating. So we have to be able to use that, move the patient off. And unfortunately, we're not able to touch patients. So a caregiver or a family member, home health person would have to move the patient. We'd have to just sit there and wait, then install it. And after it installs, we'll instruct and then we'll leave after that. But we can't stay and wait there for the 30, 40 minutes for 240. And then we can always come back for the mattress a different day. That's pretty much it. Questions about this? All right, cool. There is a bariatric version. Same exact length, same exact features. It's just about a foot wider. That's it. There may be a few other modes on the bariatric pump. Something like a cycle time. It'll tell you how long it could wait before it goes to alternate. So you can choose 15 minutes, 25, 30, 40 minutes before it alternates the chambers. I think that's it. It's an air mattress in a nutshell. It's nothing special, but it's definitely better than the APPs, the alternating pressure mattresses, because that's just a bubble topper that sits on top. This actually does something. And I think that's it, folks. Questions, concerns?
They're good over here.
Team.
I'm about to take a nap. Yeah, so I think we're gonna start packing up. If you guys have any questions or concerns, he's the local supervisor here. A lot of you guys have his number already, so just reach out to Alfred. He's our guy. Our office is on North Peak, just down the street, so.
Oh, so now we know where to find you.
Down the street.
Well, you got all that something just. Be right there.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
No worries.
Thank you.
Back for the next demo, whatever it is.
September 25th. Yes.
Thank you, Amanda.
You're welcome, Rebecca. Thank you for coming.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All day. I'm sinking. It's doing exactly what it should. Let me check. All right, it says normal.